Hey everybody, what is up? Welcome back to Final Trade. I had a question from a patron about why prices are the way they are on Pokemon packs and why you sometimes see different pricing in different form factors. So specifically, when you look at things like ETBs versus booster boxes. And his question was specifically for Silver Tempest. Now, neither of these are Silver Tempest. I just went in the closet and grabbed the first two things I saw because what's important here is the relative size. And obviously, you can't feel the weight, but I've measured these and I'll talk about the weights here in a minute. So, what he had seen is one of the distributors he's with had Silver Tempest ETBs at $25 each, making the booster packs come out to about $3.12 each. Remember, these are the old Sword and Shield ETBs that had 8 booster packs. The new Scarlet and Violet ETBs have 9 booster packs. Then what he was seeing was at the same time, Silver Tempest booster boxes out on TCG Player were around $160, making those about $4.50 per pack. And so his question was, why the price discrepancy here? Why are booster packs from the booster boxes nearly 50% more expensive than booster packs from the ETBs? And so there's two answers. One is that his sample of the ETBs was from a distributor. So you're going to typically expect to pay less from a distributor. Things have been pretty upside down over most of the last couple of years, where even in Pokemon, there were long time periods where some of the distributors masquerading as retailers on eBay were selling ETBs in the $25, $28, $30 range if you would buy an entire case of them. So it's not always the case that simply buying at distribution and sampling the prices at distribution is where that distinction comes from, but that is part of the reason of this 50% difference. But let's dive in a little more to the actual numbers of this. What I did is I went and measured what's the size of these boxes, what's the cubic inches, and what's the weight, so that I could figure out exactly what we're dealing here. And when you go and you calculate how many cubic inches does it take to get one booster pack into a customer's hand, and you look at it here, it takes about 1.9 cubic inches per pack. 36 booster packs and 1.9 cubic inches. This is about 69, 70 cubic inches overall. And this thing is much bigger. It's closer to 170 cubic inches. So it's over twice as large volumetrically, and it only has 8 booster packs in it. So the ratio is much worse. It's nearly 21 cubic inches per booster pack. And this is something I've wanted to kind of talk about for a long time, but it gets pretty deep in the weeds on the numbers. But the ratio between these is this one is 10 times more volumetrically efficient on delivering booster packs into the customer's hands. And most of the time, most people are going to take the other things that are in this ETB and just throw them in a box and not really worry with them. I mean, the little box here that comes with it, the dividers, the sleeves are notoriously bad. Everybody's got sets of dice and counters already. And so most of the other stuff in the ETB is not really useful. It's just the booster packs people are after. But the volumetric efficiency of getting them into your hands just based on cubic inches per booster pack is 10 times worse for this one. Now, if you take those numbers and you further say, what would it take if I were going to ship these? And I were going to have to, let's say I'm a retailer and I'm looking at buying from distribution and I could buy either one of these. And remember, we're pretending that they're both Silver Tempest, even though I didn't grab that out of my closet. But we're pretending they're the same expansion. I'm going to ship one or the other to my customers. So I go through on my shipping program and I put in the size, the dimensions of this with the weight. And then I'm going to do some magic here with this one. Since it's only 8 booster packs and I need to ship 36, I'm going to say, well, I take 4.5 of these and I magically mash them into a perfect cube, okay? I don't just take 4.5 and stack them on top of each other and make a long prism. I get them to mush into a perfect cube, which is optimal for shipping them cheaply. And so I do that and I look at the total weight, and I put it into my shipping calculator. And what I find is shipping them to the worst place in America, which is some place in the middle of nowhere, Alaska, which always generates the highest shipping costs for me when I'm checking rates on things. This one costs about $8.50 to ship, and my giant cube of 4.5 of these costs almost $14 to ship. So somewhere around 75% more expensive to ship this. And that's the other place where that difference comes from, where that price per pack discrepancy comes from. It's that when you're a retailer and you're looking at how to use these to put booster packs in your customers' hands, you and your customers are less interested in shipping this giant thing that only holds 8 booster packs instead of this much smaller thing that holds 36. So it's about shipping efficiency. Now, in the long term for TCG investing, I think the effect of that becomes less pronounced over time. In the data, we certainly see that. We see the compound annual growth rates of ETBs outpace even booster boxes on the long timeline. I think that's because fewer people are willing to hold these huge items for the long term. And so not only do they not put them back in their closet to start with, but they get rid of them sooner. So I hope that answers the questions, gives a little more clarity on where the friction is. And with questions like this, you should always try to ask yourself that exact question. Where is the friction in the system? Even if it seems minor at first, can I explore the friction and try to figure out what is actually going on here that is costing people money or effort or something else? Take a sort of behavioralist view on it and try to figure out what is it people are not liking that is persuading them to not do this thing. Let me know what you think, everybody. Thanks everyone who makes this content possible, especially my very generous supporters on Patreon who ask me these kind of questions. Like, comment, share, and subscribe, and join me on Final Trade.